Hi guys, it is Brittany here from My Core Floor, back for a Friday broadcast with Britt, and it's been a little bit since we've done one on our main page, and I am going to share this into both my member group and into our free group so that everybody has an opportunity to hear it. So today I watched a video this morning from a pelvic floor physical therapist, and I'm not going to say any names. She is a very big influencer on social media, has a huge following of about 400,000 women, and normally puts out really good information. And I like to follow her stuff to see what she's doing. And I follow a lot of pelvic floor PTs to see what they're doing and what other things are going on out in the world of pelvic floor PT and in different parts of the country. But today's video that she posted really set me off to the point where my husband has heard about it, my best friend has heard about it, and I've sort of been stewing on it all day long. And I felt like, you know what? I know what this week's broadcast with Britt is going to be about. It's going to be about this. You notice that I'm not someone who's doing a lot of like TikToks or fancy Instagram reels or Facebook video reels with fancy music in the background. That's just not who I am. That's not the stage of life I am in. It's not my thing. And I'm excited for those people that it is their thing. I sort of wish that I wanted to do that. I think I'm a generation behind all those people, or maybe ahead of those people, I guess you would say. That's not necessarily how I like to present my information to women. And so I was watching her reel, and today's reel was about how do you do a jumping jack without peeing. And I thought, well, this is awesome because I have women ask me that all the time, and we talk about it all the time in the My Core Floor membership. I talk about it in the live classes that I teach every week. I talk about it in the mini workouts, the quick hitters that I do. And so I thought, this is great. Let's see what other pelvic PTs are doing to help women to get back to jumping without leaking or having prolapse issues or pelvic pain issues. And I was astounded that her video then went into instruction that in order to do a jumping jack without peeing your pants, that you should be doing a Kegel exercise and jumping while Kegeling. And I just cringed. I cringe because I really care about women getting good information. And I care about women feeling good about the things that they're doing. And I knew as soon as I watched this video that there would be a lot of women that would watch this video. And there'd be a lot of women that would think, wow, this is what I need to be doing. And then I can jump in my workout classes, or I can jump on the trampoline with my kids. And there's going to be a lot of women that are going to try that technique and fail for various reasons. And it's going to make them think that there's something wrong with them, or that they must be doing it wrong, or that it's hopeless and they'll just never jump. And so I want to explain why Kegeling with a jumping jack is not what you should be doing, okay? And why there are a lot better ways to train your pelvic floor to be able to jump again, do the trampoline park, to run with your friends, your kids, whatever it is that your goal is. There's better ways to do it than having to involve Kegel exercises at all. I'll usually start with this when I'm talking to someone, and I actually did comment on this woman's post, and I said the same thing, that I would never instruct someone to Kegel with movement or prior to movement because I think it's really unnatural. Actually, the second thing I did after I watched the reel this morning is I actually stood up to see if I could Kegel and do a jumping jack, because I have been a pelvic floor therapist for almost 22 years, and I know how to Kegel, and I know how to train the pelvic floor, and I thought, I'm not actually even sure I could Kegel and do a jumping jack. So I actually just need to try this out because I'm now sort of curious. I could, but it was super unnatural. I felt like as I tried to do it, I felt a lot of other muscles trying to contract and tense as I tried to hold the contraction with the jumping. Now, some people may say, and she may say, well, that means you need to practice. You need to do some of the earlier exercises of Kegeling with mini jumps and holding on that she recommends in this video. I would say that I am a woman who has had a grade 2 bladder prolapse for 15 years. I am completely asymptomatic. I do jumping jacks on a very regular basis in my class, as well as a whole lot of other high-level jumping activities. I like to jog. I like to hike. I have no problem at the trampoline park. And I have never once done a Kegel with a jump or a run or any activity. So I would argue that that's an unnecessary skill. And I would say that if you really sort of think back, and this was sort of where my brain went as soon as I watched it, it was thinking about our kids when they take off on the playground or when they're in gym class in elementary school doing jumping jacks or, playing Simon Says, whatever it might be where they're having to jump or run or do things. We don't ever teach them to Kegel before they do it. We don't ever say, hey guys, do your Kegels before you go hit the playground or before you, run and play tag or before you get on the trampoline park, go into the trampolines, make sure you all Kegel first. That is ridiculous, right? You would never do that. You would never tell your kids or grandkids or your friends' kids that they need to Kegel before they go do some sort of activity. So why, as grown women, when our pelvic floors stop working well for us, is this what we go to? We go to this conscious contraction where we have to contract our pelvic floor. And the problem is that there's a lot of women that A, don't know how to Kegel well, or B, because of pelvic floor tension, are unable to fully Kegel because they have difficulty relaxing. So the muscles are already tense, which means when they try to Kegel, they actually can make the tension worse. And then you add in jumping and you add in failure. So to understand how to really, truly strengthen the pelvic floor and get back to jumping, you have to understand how the pelvic floor works. And again, I'm not criticizing this woman. I'm not even going to say her name. I think that her heart is in the right place. I think she is doing the best she can. I think she's probably had some success, but my question would be, are your clients who are getting better with this having success because of what you're doing with them or in spite of what you're doing with them? And I would argue that it's probably more in spite of what you're doing with them and not the actual technique. So first, it starts with understanding the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor is a bowl of muscles. Those muscles, because they sit like a bowl at the bottom of your pelvis, they run in different directions. So some of the fibers run front to back. Some of the fibers run side to side, and some of the fibers rotate, okay? In order to get those different individual fiber parts of the pelvic floor to contract and relax, which is how a muscle gets strong and works, you have to be able to move in those directions, okay? So to get the muscles that run front to back to contract and relax and get strong, your pelvis has to move front to back. So you have to do activities that encourage that. To get the muscle fibers side to side, you have to move side to side with your pelvis. To get the rotational fibers, you actually have to be able to rotate through your hips and pelvis to get those parts of the pelvic floor to contract and relax. Cool thing about the pelvic floor is that not only do those fibers work as individual muscle groups, but they can also work together as a whole, and they can contract and relax or strengthen with vertical motion. That's what a Kegel is. It works the entire pelvic floor vertically, okay? So there's 4 ways to strengthen your pelvic floor. Kegels are only one very small piece of the puzzle. I have seen hundreds, maybe even thousands of women who have come to me over the last 22 years and could Kegel fantastically, yet couldn't sit up from a chair without peeing their pants, couldn't go to a trampoline park, couldn't walk sometimes without peeing their pants, couldn't do other activities without peeing their pants because being able to Kegel well does not translate over to being able to move well, okay? The other piece that you have to understand about the pelvic floor is not only that there's 4 ways to strengthen it, but also that there are different types of fibers within that muscle, those muscle groups. There are both fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fibers. I don't care if you know what those are, but what you need to know is that fast twitch need to be trained for speed. So I want you to think about like an Olympic sprinter, right? So they have to do sprinting drills to train to be better at sprinting. And then the slow twitch fibers are sort of like your marathon runners. They're your endurance fibers, okay? They need to be able to hold long contractions, be able to, hold a full bladder while you're in the car and the next exit's not for another 20 miles or something, and you have a full bladder and you have to pee. Your endurance fibers are going to sort of hold that bladder, support it so that nothing leaks out, okay? So you have to train both speed and you have to train endurance. And you may know that. People who do Kegels, often they'll say do quick flicks or do these long sort of endurance holds. But again, that's only working the pelvic floor in one direction. So in my training of getting women back to jumping and doing jumping jacks and running, What I look at is I look at strengthening the pelvic floor in multiple directions, okay? Front to back, side to side, and rotation. And I look to do both endurance, slow movements in those patterns, as well as quick speed movements in those patterns. I don't ever once ask someone to do a Kegel during any workout that I do with them. I have women ask me, and here's the reason, is Kegels are unnatural. We didn't learn to gain bowel and bladder control by Kegeling. We learned by movement and engaging those pelvic floor muscles to contract and relax. And that's how we need to train them when we're adults and those muscles start to shut down. We need to start moving better, moving more, moving in multiple directions, training for speed and for endurance so that we get back to doing the function that we need to do or that we want to do, okay? When I think about this recommendation of Kegeling and jumping, I started trying to think of what a good analogy was. And the only thing I could sort of come up with was if I wanted to lift something heavy, right, I wouldn't contract my bicep and then lift while I'm contracting. That seems crazy, right? It seems like a whole lot of work. Just to contract my bicep feels fatiguing right off the bat. So why would I put the muscle into this sort of fatigue, isolated movement, and then try to move on top of it? It's like making your muscle do double the work, okay? What I would do is I would just go to lift whatever I was lifting, and my muscle would contract in the process, but it doesn't need an isolated contraction with a dynamic contraction. It doesn't need to hold and then lift. It doesn't need to hold and then move. Just like your pelvic floor doesn't have to Kegel and contract in order to move well and to support your bladder without peeing. So, can you tell this is my soapbox? It makes me crazy. So what I would say is that if you are really looking to be able to jump again, to do a jumping jack, to go on the trampoline, to go take a run with your friends and not pee your pants, there are strategies that you can start to do, and we teach them in my core floor. I teach them in my free exercises that I give out every week in our free pelvic floor support group. If you want to go check that out, if you're not a member. Join the membership, mycorefloor.com. You can join our membership. There is a free trial. You can try out some of the workouts if you're not sort of sure what it's going to look like or if it's going to work for you. But there are ways and strategies to do this where it does not involve Kegeling. As a busy working mom, I have enough things to think about during the day that I don't want to think about my prolapse, and I don't want to think about having to contract my pelvic floor in order for it to work. And I'm assuming that neither do you. So if you're looking for movements, strategies, exercises, ways to be able to jump, run, not pee your pants, not have your prolapse feel worse, and not have pain, come check us out at My Core Floor. Comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you've ever tried this, or maybe during this video, you're actually going to be like, oh, let me try and see if I could Kegel and jump. Just don't do it. If you're looking for better strategies, if you're looking for some guidance on how you can go back to jumping without having to involve Kegel exercises as part of it, and to just involve movement strategies that will make your pelvic floor work naturally without your conscious contraction and thinking about it, send us a message, private message me, comment below. I actually think that based on seeing this today, I'm going to put together my own video on how to get back to jumping with a little mini workout that's about 5 minutes long to teach you guys some strategies if you're somebody who's looking for some exercises to get back to jumping or doing jumping jacks. I will put together a video, so stay tuned. In the next couple days, I will get that filmed and edited and put into Facebook for you guys. I'll put it right here on the main page. You don't have to pay for it, nothing like that. You don't have to join the membership to get it. I am just going to give it to you guys for free because I just believe in women getting good, reliable information. So I don't believe in having to do it to fancy music or whatnot. Somebody said to me this morning, one of my friends, when I was talking to him about this whole thing, said, good marketing is what sells, and it's only a bonus if the information is good. And I thought he's right. But that to me is really frustrating because I don't want women just buying into something because lots of people are doing it or lots of people are saying it or lots of people are following this person, so it must be true. I want people getting good, reliable information, and that is the basis for what I do. It's the basis for my videos that I put on my core floor. It's the basis for my membership. I just want women to get good, reliable information, and I want them to get information that is going to work and help them see success. So if you have questions, if you have comments, reach out, private message me, comment below, and keep your eye out in the next couple days for a new video and a more reliable and long-term better solution that doesn't require Kegels or thinking about Kegels during your exercises. Keep your eye open for that over the next couple days. I will be back soon with another Friday broadcast with Britt. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will talk soon. Take care.